One. Fight!
I ain't close to there. Last week I was in the Swiss Alps. Yeah, man. Good night, people. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night to everybody.
Good night,
Welcome to
people.
another episode.
Good
Welcome to
night.
another episode
Big
of the
Hill.
Up Inside Your podcast, where each week we get up in there. We analyzing issues affecting Barbados and the world today. I am your host, Chad, and I'm here with my two guys, Keita and Tyrone. Tonight, we ain't got Janelle with us. Janelle is unavailable
Good night.
to us this evening, but we can keep it jiggy tonight as the fellas, man. So big up the Up Inside Your podcast, powered by Gallery Media Productions. Let me get myself started because last week I was
Big up
in
Gallery,
the Swiss Alps. Right, I was in the Swiss Alps last week, but this week I decided to take a trip to the clothes because it seems to me as if we head will go be in the clothes. You know what I'm saying? With everything that going on, everything that we seeing, all these changes, which really and truly ain't really the changes. It's like the same thing over and over. When Tyrone and I were having a conversation before we came live, Tyrone basically reminded us that we have literally been free for 2 weeks out of this entire calendar year so far. I don't know if anybody could say differently, but you would be wrong to do so because Tyrone don't talk lies. We only speak the truth.
That's what it is. They only had 2
Yeah,
weeks
that's
in the year
literally what it is. Without curfew, we only had 2 weeks of an entire year because this is the ninth month. The ninth month of a 12-month calendar year, and we literally had 2 weeks without a curfew. So, but the truth is, I ain't in the clothes because we hate God in the clothes. I actually had to leave Barbados because it is not a real place, and that's Keita's line. But I decided to take it for tonight because honestly, I had enough. I had to take a little vacation from over there, so I can let the fellas say a special good night to everybody as usual. We thank them for coming in, being a part of the podcast, and spending some time with us. We want some interactivity tonight because we are not focusing on certain things, even though they're gonna come up. But we can have a nice open discussion tonight as the fellas of this groundbreaking podcast. So go ahead, my brothers, talk to the people then.
Yeah, of course. Tyrone here. Long day today, but glad to be here for tonight's show on topic. Put it to some people, and they were saying to me that it's very interesting. And two friends of mine actually said that they were having a similar discussion pertinent to the topic that we have tonight as it relates to the whole mollycoddling and how kids and adults are treated in society today. And it actually puts us in a good position to discuss the topic more in depth from what you said just now. And it's really like we're in a society where people are able to make their own decisions for themselves, whether it be children or adults. It's just more about feelings and safety, and wrapping you in cotton wool and everything like that. Because I think there's a reason for it that is further down the road, and even more so now. But the whole circumstance as it relates to the topic, coddling a society and everything like that, I think that is kind of to remove assertiveness, or to remove spine, to remove masculinity.
Assertiveness, yeah.
To remove masculinity and to bring in a more accepting, very soft, very easily controlled,
melancholy,
passive, docile type society. That's really what it is.
That's
Because even if you look at something like toxicity, I'm sorry, that's the word is even in my mind. If you look at something like masculinity, when you hear masculinity, it is usually prefaced by the same word I used just now, and there's a reason for that. because anytime a man asserts himself in a circumstance, all the female has to do, or a male who may call a simp, has to do to that to that male to make him out as a bad person, is to say, see that kind of aggression. It might not necessarily be aggression. I mean, man might just be speaking up for himself. See that kind of aggression. That's what's toxic masculinity. That is just to keep pushing the assertion and the standing up for yourself and that kind of thing, down and down and down further. Removing pain from people and removing people's will and want to think for themselves, and you will and want to be on side with whatever everybody else is saying and agreeing with.
Right. All right, Wakita, you can hop in there as well, bro.
Yeah, it's interesting because the first thing I talk about tonight, I'm gonna keep it short, but the first thing I talked about when I heard you talk was the definition of coddling and what a society like Barbados, how we have changed over the years, how we brought up our children or treat individuals in society as it pertains to like a day-to-day interaction, or even like today, funny enough, I had a whole situation with the drumsticks and the girl and the fella. The whole interaction went down, and you just think of how this situation could have gone differently, but people like to show your one side and move with it, and the whole world gonna be like, oh, that happened to you, and he wrong for that, and this buddy wrong for this, and this buddy wrong for this, because we get programmed from a young age that we ain't supposed to be difficult or hard on certain things or speak out, because that's the wrong way to do things. But coddling, I don't want to say that is a bad thing, but too much of it is a bad thing, and I think that is to a level right now in the world, not even just Barbados, that it's more who we are as a person. So I think tonight can be a very interesting topic, because even from thinking about the Olympics and things like that, like people were, literally people were trying to make additional medals and all sorts of things for a 4th place or a 5th place, and so much of those different things, participation medals and these sort of things, like all that is a form of coddling, and it's like we just showing people that everything is inclusion, so you can get a participation medal for playing 4th. Then the repercussions of what we perceive as losing or not qualifying, it is like, everybody's a winner, and that would never work in society. It cannot work. Everybody cannot be a winner. It don't work like that. You could be a winner some of the time, but not all the time.
Yeah, bigger, and Chad Phillips there, so in the chat had Tyrone one off for the talking to myself. But let me just chime into everything that the man here so talking about right now, right? You see what Taiwan you were talking about, I want to add to that. You see, there's something that I like to call a bubble wrap mentality, meaning that parents love to insulate children, and it is a gift and a curse. It's a double-edged sword. The reason being because we know how difficult, how cold, how selfish the actual real world is, and we want to protect our children from that. But we are also doing them a disservice by doing that, because when they go out into the world as young adults, or God forbid you pass away, or the people that people that have a connection to this person are no longer in the realm of the living, and the child has to fend for itself. If you don't have that quote unquote coddling, you can get a real, it's like when you laying down in the bed and somebody can dose it's water upon you. That's how the world is here. So I believe that people need to understand that especially, and we can talk about it from a male perspective, especially because what we got to understand is that we have moved from, and this is also to Keita's point, one of the points that Keita made, sorry. We have moved from a mentality of men being out there physically working learning trades, learning skills in order to survive, not only to put some food on their own table and that, by extension the family, but also for them themselves to be able to say, all right, well, I gotta build this house. I able to do the plumbing because I have the skill of plumbing.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be associated with the hand to the plow sort of work anymore. Everybody
Yeah.
want to go and get educated. Everybody wants sitting on the AC office. Even nowadays, to change a tire, some people just be like, nah, that's what it's pay insurance for. So they will gladly just sit down in comfort and wait for somebody to come to them to do that. Depending on the situation, obviously, if you dress a certain way, you headed to an important business meeting or whatever, I can understand why you would not venture to go and do that. But I'm just saying that we have moved away from the ways that were beneficial and productive for us as men, because skills are actually very important. It is okay
Yes.
to say I have a dream to be a, a doctor, or I have a dream to be a graphic designer, or I have a dream to be a manager of whatever. But still having the ability to put your hand to something and deal with it, as opposed to having to pay somebody else to do it, that's a blessing. Because just yesterday, a friend of mine, his radiator first, and he his material, and the basic I can get the basic run of it. To receive a brand new radiator, it had to be taken down. It had to be taken to the parts place for them to put it up to the other one to ensure they're selling the right
Yeah,
part.
the
And
metric
that right
accelerator.
part was anywhere of like $250 upward. And
Mm.
then for the individual that has to pull down the vehicle to take off that radiator, and then when you get the part, you put it back up, that's $250. So you're basically looking at $500+ for that situation. You know what my guy did? My man ain't know nothing about mechanics, but he went on YouTube. He looked at the step-by-step process. Thankfully, there was one, and he did it himself.
There's
And
always one.
when you do something like that, it gives you a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment. Because you know what? I had to out that $250 to put in somebody had to come and do something, because you feel emasculated when you watch a next man do something that you like, yeah,
Facts.
what? Why could I get this
God,
here
you
and do
use
though?
that word too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know he know how to do that again in the future, something like that was to happen, or to offer that assistance to somebody if that was to happen. If he got a friend
Big
know that
facts.
right.
created a crap know he could offer assistance because he got idea what the process is like. And then like
Big
every
facts.
single car gonna be a total different process. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
That's a big, big fact.
Okay,
Big,
I was
big,
just
big
reading
fact.
there. So what Shane was just now there saying, but continuing on what I was saying is that we have to recognize, especially as men, that we have a responsibility to these young boys that are coming up.
Yeah.
When Keita and I first started the podcast and everything, I guess Tyrone here Titus will remember the conversations that we were having about men coming to us, sliding in the DMs, talking to me about issues, not choosing violence as they go to. But we know that that's how the society set up, because if you don't have an outlet, just like the same analogy of a carbonated beverage, you shake it up vigorously, and then you try to open that cap just so it can explode. You gotta ease that air pressure out of there in order
Yeah.
to calm down or tone down the violent reaction that will occur. So when it comes to this bubble wrap mentality, I break it down into three aspects. I have parental guidance or the lack thereof, the overcompensation, which would be leaning into the term of coddling, because when you would know, all right, for example, you can use me.
Mm.
My father was not in my life as I would have wanted him to be. I know who he is. We interacted before, and then
Right.
as I got older, we drifted apart. Now, usually, because I was without mine in the years that I believe a boy does need a father most, not just when he is a little boy, not when he is a preteen, not when he is a young man. I'm talking about when you're really trying to navigate life, like learning about bills, learning about loans, learning about how to set up a bank account, learning about all of these things that's actually part of real life. When you don't have that there, and you have to learn the hard way, or you have to watch the mistakes of others in order to learn was the correct process or processes, you just overcompensate when you yourself become a parent because you know what it is like to be without. So you don't want your child, which is the person that you love more than anything, naturally, you love that person before you even meet them. You don't want them to go through what it is that you had to go through. And hence, there comes the overcompensation of the coddling mentality. You're wanting to protect them and insulate them and oh, I don't want that bad happen to this person. But we gotta understand that experience is the greatest teacher.
Facts.
And no matter how
That is
much
a
you
fact.
try to protect a child, no matter how much you try to protect a child, unless they go through experiences, they are still inequipped to deal with what is real or what's considered the real world. You know, some of us are
Yeah,
fortunate
but
where that we very rare children that get it right the first time. They go and get themselves educated, they get a great job, or they go and start their own business, they get in a working relationship, they get married, all of these things. But we know that that's not the statistical consensus that does happen on a regular basis. Most of us have to go through the shitstorm that is life in order to get things right. And even some of we at 36, 34, 37 still trying to get shit right. And we ain't get it all the way right yet. So I want people to work on that, finding that balance between overcompensation and allowing mistakes to take place, right? I see and Shane here so talking about perhaps we should revisit apprenticeship, or he talking about the skills part of it, and
Yeah.
that's important. That's very very important because I see places the youth service skills training. What's the other place? Samuel Jackman Prescott, well, not the
that's
Polytechnic. Wait, you
it.
know, yeah, SJPI, the Institute of Technology or something, so the name in it now,
Or you
or
mean the
the name in everything,
technological part? Yeah.
right? I believe
I
that
understand. I
everybody should
understand.
try. Go ahead, Kika. Go ahead.
I mean, it's because your parents are gonna want better for you, and we get put in a situation where our parents want to see us do better than them because in their mind they have it rough, and in order for them to make a better living for us, they don't want us to have to go through the same things that they did. In some instances, I can see where that will be the norm, but it can't be the norm in every single instance. Like I could draw a reference to that because I've experienced the level of like bubble wrap to a certain extent in my life. Like
Uh-huh.
till like third form, I was getting dropped school every day. It's not till third form I'm getting picked up from school. And I was
Whoa,
like I was up to
that
the
must have been
experience. It was
nice.
like but you would think that saying as small as that would be like the something as small as that would be something that you'll overlook when it comes to puddling. But it's like I didn't even have the experience of catching a bus from home to foundation. I didn't even know how to get to school at that point by bus. You understand? And so like that kind of like when I start doing it, I was like real nervous at first. You'd be like, "Child, boy, you do this here?" Like a senior student should like at least know how to get to school if all else fails. But then like I went through the process of being myself and learning it on my own. And you might go off around start here, around start there, and then you figure it out. And you're like, yo, I
Facts.
need to do this. I need to do this here for me to understand how
Correct.
to do this here in the future going forward. Because imagine if I did never get dropped school and dropped home, or if it always get dropped school and dropped home, what would be late for me as an adult being able to catch a bus? That's already a big part about mine. Ain't know to catch the bus, ain't know to do this, no, and it's like these are all the things you all know for yourself from a young age. So it could start from small, but parents just try
Mhm.
to protect you from the big and the errors that you think that they think that they can make based on what they made when they were young. So I understand that point exactly.
Tyrone, you got anything to say in that
Um,
regard?
I I think that to add to just the point that you made um, earlier, the experience is the greatest teacher. That's a fact because in my lifetime, I had the opposite of what Kata had. Because
Uh-huh.
from early age, there was a lot of doing for me. Even though my mother would have had it pretty hard when she was coming up, and she tried to make it as, of course, as every single parent does, tries to make it as easy on the child as possible. I still had the balance of, you can learn to do for you, and I was probably catching van and bus by myself from first form. You know what I mean? And thankfully for me, if I got up early enough on mornings, I had to walk far to get my St. Michael's school. You know what I mean? From where I live. But right, so to get into school, it's either walk to school, where a lot of parents nowadays, even though that distance is relatively short, ain't gonna want the child to do.
Nah, everybody want to drop. Everybody want to drop.
Correct. They want the child to school. They want come at they can find some means of getting them there. That the child does not have the experience at 11 years old of walking from one distance to the other to the school, no matter how close it is. Or even where I work now. I tend to walk to work or walk back home from work sometimes. So experience definitely is the greatest teacher. And there are a lot of instances in life where when you look back on it, you can say, you know what? If I did not have this experience, I would never ever be the person I am right now.
Yep.
Because, and for yourself too, because parents pass on a lot of fears to children. And it's as simple as
it's so true.
It's as simple as children in the womb, they be floating, right? This is the reason why water births can be done. You understand? Safely, because a child in the womb is floating. A baby will float. A lot of people don't know that a baby will naturally float. So, but when you see the child reach 2 or 3 years old, and a parent takes a child to, like, for example, the beach, if the parent is distracted for any significant point in time, or even a short period of time, and that 2 or 3 year old begins to run towards the water, and the parent picks it up, late, and sees the child, what is going to be the parent's reaction? First reaction, yeah, hysterics, right? Mm-hmm. That passes that fear of the water,
onto the
child that they did not have before. And that's just a simplistic example. You understand? You need experience. I mean, you don't want to throw children in the deep end. Obviously, you don't want to do that.
That'd be bad.
Figuratively and literally. But you must allow for a natural experience to take, because lessons got to be learned too. Lessons got to be learned too. You know what I mean? And if you don't learn lessons and you don't have some kind of edge, you will find that the softness, the same coddling that we have right now going on in this modern day society will make life a more dangerous place than if you had more experiences on your. I mean, sometimes when I was younger, you're going outside, you come in, you do your homework or not do your homework, and you're going outside and your mother is interested in you being back in by a certain time. She might tell you just don't go too far, or some random email thing that a parent would say, but make sure you're back here by a certain time. Nowadays, parents cannot even, they will not even allow their child to be out of their sight, far less telling them you're back in here
back in the house by a certain time.
Alright, come outside, make sure I can see you. You know what I mean? That's what it's. That sometimes I would be, if I live in the bed and I would be all up. Sometimes be playing whatever, hide and seek, whatever. I'd be all up, get Charleston or sometimes Rockley or whatever the case of me at young ages, 11, 12 years old, 13. You know what I mean? My mother never know, and they come back home before. But my mother come looking for me because that I don't want. But
so nowadays,
you ain't getting that. You getting correct. Nowadays, nothing. You say, make sure you got your phone. Make sure you got your phone. I can call you.
You see what you're saying, though, Tyrone, was important to know is that it was something that I saw in a series, 2 separate series, where that a guy was raising children, wife passed away or whatever. Every single time these 2 men, there's 2 completely different series, and they were set in olden times. When the guy would have gone to do work and he had the children with him, he would tell the children, "All right, I going to work, go and explore." That's what he's basically tell the children, giving them the opportunity to go and do things like that. Because when I drive in on the road and I see some youngsters that about this tall or he grown here and the child about this height, and they're walking by themselves. You'd be like, where that mother, where the mother is, where the father. That's the reaction nowadays. Because I come from the other side now. Kita would have come from the two parent household. You would have come from the town side. I was in the country. So the fact of the matter is that we used to do more gully type stuff. We going to the beach when we ain't supposed to be at the beach. We mother doing all that, them kind of things. So you know the rule is before outside get dark, before that street light turn on, be inside the house. That was the unwritten rule. So in that time, because of everybody being outside was a safe and normal place to be because you had all of the people
What a
within the
time to be
district
alive.
rolling with you and doing things and all the activities outside. The punishment was staying indoors.
What a time
Nowadays,
to be alive. And the ends
nowadays
up opposite
you's
you.
got force, yeah, you's got force children out the door. You's like, listen, go outside and go and do something. Get up off of the bed, get up out of the chair, go and walk out. Go and get lost somewhere. That's what you's got to tell children nowadays.
I wasn't get lost, but yeah,
When they say get lost, I mean like
but
just
be
go
active.
far.
Don't say
Go
that and be
far.
active and do something outside.
Yeah,
Don't be in the
because
house
I
sitting on
mean
the tablet. Don't be
children
in the
inside the
house.
house 22 hours out of 24 hours, and the only thing that coming out is to get something to eat, or to hear the mother in the kitchen and the hair crackling, or the go on bed. Outside of
Go to
that,
bed.
that's another thing. All right. So let me move on to another aspect of this here. So too, let me talk about parents emphasizing children to get into what is naturally their gift because we know everybody is gifted differently. We know the education system fails us as a community. Everybody is not academically inclined. Everybody does not have that skill. Like where some children just pick up things and just make things out of. You'd be like, where you learn this from? They're just like, I don't know. I just see this. I take up this. You remember when we used to go camp and you would get all of them lollipop, them lolly sticks, and you would create things out of
Yeah, yeah.
those. All of that there so is lost art that is gone now. It's only if a child is born with the ability to be hands-on naturally without learning it that you notice that people will be actually interested in doing these things because everybody knows in the technological age, everybody with the tablets, the computers, the whatever, but you hardly seeing any people being more hands-on than before. So, but let me go into the emphasis that parents need to place on development because most of the time a lot of children are free falling through the school life, secondary school life, not knowing what direction they're going, not knowing what they want to be, not having an idea. All right, I got plan one, plan two, and plan three. My plan number one is this because this is what I love to do. However, plan two I am naturally gifted with. So let me say, all right, let me give you a perfect example of this. One of my mother's cousins, he is not academically inclined in a major way. You can tell it when he talking or whatever. But you see this man is gifted with his hands when it comes to carpentry. Nobody taught this guy carpentry. He just had it in he. A time he came to me and he was like, Chad, I want you to put together a quotation for me because, I ain't good with the computer or whatever. I need it to look a certain way, professional. I said, not a problem. Just give me the details of what you want and I can put it together. Long story short, this quotation was for a roof that was being built in Royal Westmoreland. When it came to labor, materials, were force that he would have been commanding and whatever to get the thing done within a specific time frame, this entire job came to $500,000. There's a roof here on a Royal Westmoreland home, $500,000. Where can I go? Which faculty do I go into at UV that I could quote $500,000 jobs? Anybody in the comments could tell me, because this is where we gotta recognize that skills are important. Just like I was having a conversation with Chad. Chad said that he's a Chad Phillips. He said that he is
Tell
an
you
AC
yourself.
technician. He's an AC technician. And when we came out of lockdown, he had so much work, it basically up to his throat. I know how tall he is. He might be a short man. But the reality is, skilled labor is never out of fashion. It is never without. And once are you good? You can't be without
Yeah.
work. So I think
I
what
agree.
parents have to do now is tell the children, all right, you could want to be anything you want to be, but you also need to have a skill and push them in that. And you know what's be so crazy too? The fact that a skill at BCC skills training, wherever, there must be 3 month courses, 3 month courses, and a degree there's be anywhere, if it's part-time or full-time, there's be anywhere between 3 to 6 years. And that paper don't qualify you for nothing, because yet again, look at when we was in lockdown. When you was in lockdown, all of these people with the fancy 5 degrees were home with nothing to do. But plumbers still needed, were necessary, because people pipes still bursting. Until water could come through Wi-Fi, plumbers always got work. Until nursing and these sorts of things become something that you no longer have to submit going to a hospital or a medical institution, nursing will never go to school. And the beauty about all of these things as well, the worldwide. So I could left Barbados today as a skilled AC technician and go to Zimbabwe once I got AC out there, so I got work. You understand what I'm saying? So I believe that who's TRPERA? What kind of name is that? So man said that he was talking to himself. My thing is, right, I want parents to be more aware and encourage children to find their natural gifts so that it don't feel like work. Because when you're doing something that you're naturally gifted at, you just feel like if you're not doing work, you just feel like you're just doing what you love to do. So I want parents to be more aware of what their children are naturally gifted with. Yes, make them go for the education. Yes, make them as aware educationally as possible. But help them to recognize that the climate of Barbados is a skill-based organization, because you could be the biggest accounting whatever, unless you got the backing of a very big what is called that, like a Fortune 500 company. I know we will call one of them, but here like maybe KPMG or one of them. The likelihood of you being successful as an accountant is very, very minimal. Very minimal. But when you go and be a tailor and use a top tailor, people in KFU base in Spikestone, they want you. They're coming for you. So I want parents to recognize that skills are what is going to propel us forward as a people, whether in lockdown or outside of lockdown or anywhere in the world. That child could left here, migrate to Canada, and that's another place too. Canada is looking for skilled workers all the time. They're opening up the multi-ethnic. They want people to come from different places and add to their skill set when it comes to the population. So I just want people to be more aware of that and let children get more active and put their hands to the plow, man. We got to get children physically active again. You know, that's lending to health and obesity. And man, look, they got so many applications to this thing. It's crazy. So, but Keita, you's a man that used to work in the office, and you have been working in a bank for the better part of like 10 years, a decade now, or over
14 years.
14 years. 14 years. So let me talk about you now. Do you have any particular skill set outside of the bank and the job that you currently have?
Yeah, I mean, outside of doing things around the house, my skill from a very young age was more technologically advanced skills. Like I was the person that was programming for estates. I was the person that was doing DVDs. I was the person that was doing that growing up. That was always my skill set growing up. Because I came into technology. So I came into technology at a young age. So yeah, some more hustling, but I was doing the technological thing like with DVDs from young. I was buddy at school selling DVDs to other students. It was the
Mm-hmm.
buddy I was doing a little bit of everything here and there. When for six first come in Barbados, I was the buddy that programming them and doing this, and my cousin learning these different things. And I learn a lot from my cousin because he's a skilled person. And anything that I could see he doing, like saying like fits in the toilet seat, or it's just small stuff that you could say, oh, you that's a skill that I would like to have for me. It might not necessarily be saying I want to start a business with, but I want to know how to do it to get exposure to certain things I know that would benefit me further on in life. I would do it. I would try it. I'm sorry that I wasn't in the AC game because I would, if I could learn to right, if we could learn to fix ACs and install ACs and that sort of thing, right? Even though it might take a lot of time, man, but it will pay off in long run. I would do it because I know that that's really money I already know. I want you to understand it of what your job is in this our fields. Nobody can't tell you nothing, It's like you said,
Yeah.
I need to make a call for what I want. Once you get to the level where you are recognized as a go-to person,
Yeah.
call for what you want, boy. People say, oh,
Yeah, man.
I got a close friend that did my AC, and the man he was working for a firm at the time as an AC technician, and he was doing anything on his side. He was making more money on his side than he was at a firm, but the firm knew that he had potential to fly to China and to
Wow.
learn new things with ACs, learn new technology, and that's the thing and bring back. And them are skills that he know could put into play for like everyday outside jobs and so on that he would have never had, or he would have never had paying money to learn on his own. So there's these sort of skills and these little soft skills and even these skills like mechanics and so on, you can't ever, that's something you will never forget. But one thing about it is it depends on if you're good at it or if you got the heart for it. Because you could still go and force children to do skills that they might not got the heart for, or might not got the power to go. You just gotta know what you good at or what's work for you. Because for me, no, like I can't even know that I'm a mechanic and they can go and know everything about car. Like I know you try got a real skills when it comes to mechanics and that sort of stuff. Me, no, I be skilled in a different area. I could tell you most things about with computers and devices and that sort of thing, and behind the scenes stuff. But people got skills in different areas just to know them and work them.
Correct. So Tyron, what you would say your skill is outside because Kita, well, let me say one more thing, Kita. You actually are a person that you just get in where you fit in, and I find that you gravitate to a lot of opportunity, and that's a blessing because of the fact that you have the number of years in the bank, that you've made a lot of relationships within the bank, but outside the bank as well, based on the fact that you will be a promoter and that sort of thing. So I have actually never seen you in a position where that, oh, well, the bank is all in know, and if the bank was to go under you and you aren't. So I just gotta put that out there, so because I don't want to make it seem as if I was coming at you with the skills,
No.
conversation.
And
So
sir,
Tyron, what you would say you gifted at other than what line of work you just actually do currently, or what is your line of work? I can't say that I ever asked you that question.
Um, I do a bit of exactly what it was when I was much younger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, computer thing, fixing computers. I actually worked at a computer store for 3 years. Promo Tech in Warrens. So I did a bit of that. So I have that. I can do that. I am not versed in the modern technology because I haven't paid much attention to what was going on in the marketplace and the technical marketplace, the service marketplace in that industry for a long, long time since I have not been in it myself. I learned that on the job because I didn't know it coming in, right?
That's important. What you just said there is very important.
Learned it on the job, but I did not know it coming in. That's a fact. I did not know. The first thing I all knew how to do was operate them, and that was it. And I learned a lot on the job from guys that were silly. A guy called Q and Julian and some of the other guys that were working with me. Did the DVD thing as well for a short while, which was obviously hustling. A lot of people didn't really know about that at that time. Then that game
Listen to me,
That's
right?
what,
Before they go for it, right? That DVD used to be real work back in the day. Don't ever knock that in, bro.
yeah,
Like, man,
boy,
Yeah.
like
how much nights
Jesus.
say that? How much nights say that?
Burning the DVD was
Oh,
stress.
You know how much nights say
Don't
the
talk about
late
when. Don't
burning
talk about
DVDs?
when. Don't talk about when you get it when it come out and say, yeah, you DVD finished, cause it will come out to you. Then when you
Yeah,
gonna put it in DVD player, it ain't recognizing format ain't a
yeah,
good. So it
yeah,
got
correct.
stuck. No, I said, wait, what happened here? What went wrong? Then you
Correct.
gotta go all over again.
You know how much
So
times they
so
yeah,
have
yeah,
like
that
way
hustle,
auctions with DVD brands? Because you know you'll buy a DVD for $1 here,
right?
you'll buy a DVD for this here. And that look, and your DVD burner, depending on what speed you got to operate it at, because you want it to record good. All sorts of
everything
different.
come out good. Yeah, you can't burn it too fast. Oh, boy,
Correct. Well,
boy.
this
Well,
listen, we going back, we going back. And Chad here, so even reiterating what we we're saying on the job training and experiences are so important because
yeah.
let me be real here right now. I can say something that may be a little controversial.
Mm.
In my opinion, I could go tomorrow. I am not an accountant. I did accounting all back in Alexandria school days. I could go to KPMG tomorrow, train for like maybe a couple of weeks, and I could guarantee you that I will be able to do what him is do. I
I know
being
what
A
that.
honest.
couple of weeks.
I know what that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree with you, boy. I can't.
Yeah,
Listen,
man, you real
I
Awesome.
am
I,
not speaking, I am not downplaying the people. I ain't
I'm not,
speaking about it from like higher levels. I talking about the ability to balance a book, the ability to do this, do that. It is, to be honest with you guys, right? Everything can be learned if you are open to learning it.
yeah, of course. I don't feel in a couple of
Well,
weeks.
I agree with you there because when they start
Actual
working,
reason I can't be able to do real work.
when they start working, they bang nothing but banging. So I could agree with that.
Okay. So
You learn the
you
basics
learn,
and
you learn on the job.
you learn the
You
basics
learn on
and
the
work your
job.
way up. Correct.
Correct.
Everything you know from banking learning job. So I could tell you that.
Because
Once
I
once
just
you want to
believe people
learning
just
things.
make things seem. I think people, all right, if I were to say, some people will want to disagree with me because I talk about accounting, right? But I got people out there so that would not disagree if I were to say that I will go up on a construction site and learn how to use a jackhammer, learn how to do carpentry or joinery. People will want to say that, oh yeah, you should, yeah, you could get that do, but that may not necessarily be true because
Yeah,
joinery
but
is a
try
skill,
all the people that do that how to start somewhere, and they ain't gonna start as
right?
professionals or start as low level or and learn these things over
Right.
time and work their way.
Junior level and come up. Yeah, junior
That's why
level
they
Correct.
and
got
come
So,
all the way up.
A class and B class and C class. So
correct.
Right. So I believe learning on the job to be the actual
But with
thing.
experiences,
Like
get
all of
better at.
that, yeah, that book work stuff, that to me that's just like a thing, a
No, I can't say
prerequisite, but
that's the
learning on
thing.
the job.
I can't say the team because you still gotta know a certain level to know what is right for what is wrong when it comes to book work. And you don't want to keep in the wrong direction when it comes to book work. You don't want to put people out. So yeah, the guy still got balance for both because I can speak from I guess both aspects because I had a job, well technically still got it, but in the hotel sector and I also got a job in the banking sector. And I could tell you, like, the hotel sector is something I did because, that's interacting with people and talking and, that's more so talking skill more than actually knowledge and having to know the new processes and that sort of thing. But I could say that the job sometimes, like the office jobs, are significantly harder on your mental, which is something that you can't really control how tired you can get just like that. But the office jobs, even though they might not be as skilled and you work as hard as somebody that in the field or the construction, so mentally it ain't like anybody could just do, but you've got a strong mental set up to do an office job. Something in most instances nowadays. So they get kudos
yeah,
to a lot of people in the office job because it ain't as easy as it looks for somebody in office just doing things. Because
And
you
Tyron,
yo,
the amount of people that I deal with daily from all sorts of different angles as want to say no, want to ask the question, want to know this could work, and you guys also keep it back. You may that, like I is one person, you understand? But that's how it is. So that's how life is. It
Tyron,
look
I
easy.
keep telling you though. I keep
It look
telling you
easy for
about that plan
everybody.
once and son.
I realize.
Sorry about that
It
is
look
so key, man. But look, I want we to talk about
Hey,
something here. So no, we're keeping looking against some
now
technical
you said it's like
difficulties.
looking in because people ain't able to
Oh,
understand. Not easy to know.
where you was breaking up a little bit there, so soldier. But I want me to touch one more thing here, so right,
You
and
hear me
that's from
now?
my end. Yeah, I can hear. We can hear you. We can hear you. It's just that you had a little breaking up and a little pausing and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
and no
let me
somebody tell
talk
me my
about.
flow was telling me that some my internet was saying.
Oh yeah, let me get we get a little controversial here. So no, when relationships go right and new people are introduced to the relationship and a child is a part of that situation, we talking about a child within a certain range. Not necessarily very young, but anywhere between 8 to like going up to secondary school and that sort of thing. You know, the personal vendettas and the expectations versus practicality when that coming in. Um, First of all, Keita, have you ever been in a situation such as that, like where a person has a baby or a child, where is a child, not a baby, a child with someone, and then it's an unwritten rule that as a man, when you coming into a situation with a lady who has a child outside of one relationship, you're expected to represent a certain thing. But
Oh
then
no, I never had that spirit.
you never had that. Hmm.
Can't relate.
Why am I say direct? I can't relate. But what I can
Can't
say is
relate.
this. I can say because I have been in that situation on more than one occasion, right? It is a very, very ticklish circumstance. And this is also back to the same coddling and everything. No, if a person comes into somebody else's life and life is moving forward, you're developing your relationship, and the child is obviously going to be a part of that relationship. Once that you're a person of
Yeah.
substance, and you say, oh, but look, I could assist here, and you talking to the child, helping out. But then obviously you be going back to the personal vendetta conversation where a parent know because them on the outside looking in, them vex. They don't want the poison in the child mind against the person that are trying to, assist in the manner that they should, because you can't ignore. But this bring about yet another aspect of or another problem in society when it comes to child rearing. Because it is expected of a man to be a role model for a child that is not theirs. However, when it comes down to things like discipline, and we ain't talking about having to lash or all that. We talking about talking to a child, not bigging them up no more. You chastising them. This is then where the coddling comes in, where a mother might not, oh, well, you're supposed to talk to my child like this, or the father don't like the fact that the mother is allowing you to discipline that child. Still, even though that you, Keita, might not have gone through it
But I
personally,
see,
I want you to tell me how you feel about that.
I've seen, I heard men in these situations, but at the end of the day, you gotta think of what is best, what that mother in this situation will want for her child. But I
Mhm.
think that if you live in a relationship or you're in a relationship with someone and they have children and you have a certain level of respect for their children got what respect for you. And if you're trying to and if you both have the same goal and you're trying to go the direction of this, again, an echo, I don't know if y'all hearing it too.
Nah, I can't hear you clear.
Right. If y'all going in the same direction and y'all trying to get the same goal as to a happy relationship and y'all got the same mindset of what this goal is for a child or what how you can speak to a child. Because the person gonna know who you are if they're in a relationship with you. They gonna know who you can stand for, when you and your stand for. And at the end of the day, that child is a part of your relationship with the woman too, you know. So don't ever think that is just you and the woman, is you and the woman and woman child. Because the woman gonna just let the child with any woman, it's you the woman and the child is part of the relationship. So at any day you got to speak to each other, you got to interact with each other, you got to talk to each other and let each other know as a parent, because technically you are their step or whatever you want to call it, parent. That you have to call you uncle or whatever. you are taking parent, actually, you still gotta let the child know what's right and wrong because that is your role as a parent. So you do have to have conversations with the child, even though it might be harsh. People have to hear the harsh things out of their child because you can baby a child as much as you want. The child still has to make mistakes. I learn from them. You cannot ever think that because you speak to a child a certain way. Like, look at this here, right? Remember our children, right? When we were in school, your parents never used to want you cuss, right? But used to cuss you most when you get to school, and
Right.
because you think because your parents think that nobody in housing cussing around you, or you didn't want people cussing, or they want you cussing, start cussing to make you a better person. It never used to work because you still used to go to school and cuss. You used to get off your chest or whatever because you said, "Well, I got freedom from your parents," and your parents was like, "Child, boy, you doing the right thing and not cussing in front of you. He can make you a bad person. He ain't gonna want cuss, but you still used to go to school and cuss." So because them babying you from cussing, that means that you will not cuss. It's
Well,
certain
I
things
could
that
say, I guess for me, what I would say to that and rebuttal is the fact that I used to hear cursing in my household when I was coming up because
uh-huh.
my mother's standpoint was I could raise you or I could insulate you from the outside world, or I could show you what the outside world is made of, so that when you see it
Mhm.
out there going on, you don't feel as if it was this whole new world. So
Correct.
when I hear adults, cause when adults on the road and they're cursing one another and getting on in the raucous way, they're gonna be like, oh, child mother don't curse in front of he, so let me stop cursing. So
But adults in
mhm.
public, is be like, "Oh, they got children here, so don't let me curse too much, or don't let me do this." But half of the time, when you see them children outside, or your children amongst adults, they ain't gonna cuss. But when children amongst one another discuss, and
Yes.
we ignore it is the truth. The children amongst one another stay. But we straight to baby them say, "Oh, we ain't cussing around them." I ain't saying you really cuss bad in front of your children or what. No, I'm not saying that, but just saying
Right,
the whole
right.
concept is that we teach children in the fact that we don't cuss in front of them because we can make each other better person. We're not
Yeah,
cussing.
keep
When
again
people
some
cuss,
bracket, yeah, boy. But what you're saying is correct because it still comes back to my initial point where we started that you got to prepare a child for the real world and understand that
exactly.
there is no coddling safety net or measures out there to protect you unless these people feel or have a connection to you.
But
So
the
when you
word
see
ain't
random
heard.
strangers on the road, but when you go up on the ZR van to go to work, the van man is cussing, people in the vans be cussing, it's all around you. So it don't make any sense
Yeah, but
hiding
your
it in your
parents don't
house
curse at
because when
home.
they go outside, they go see it. But you know this, what you said in rebuttal to what you're saying, because what you're saying is in an ideal situation. Men coming into a situation like going out there so and providing for a home, you take you helping financially with a child, all of that is great. I guarantee you the child fighting and get vexed with that part. But when you have to talk to that child in a manner of disciplinary conversation, that is where the discord and the divide has come. Sometimes even the mother does want to swoop in and be like, oh, don't talk to he or she that way. But they don't be saying that when it is that you doing the other things that you're supposed to be obligated to do.
As
You understand what
well,
I'm
our
saying?
obligations as a parent. I understand where we're coming from, but
Right.
I tell
Because
you, I never
everybody like the
experienced it
sweets.
personally, so I can't
Right.
really speak on it that
I
heavy.
was just
But
I
I
was just
want
offering you I
to.
was just offering you another angle because I got plenty stories that I could share. That is so that's a different like I want to hear Tyrone called Tyrone they're so quiet for a little bit. Tyrone, you had any of them experiences and you passed?
Lady with child, yeah. Thing about it is that is all contextual really and truly and is very very dependent on the partner and the partners and the child's father and the environment that you're in. Um, in my relationship previous to the one that I am in now, the girl that I was with, she had a daughter, and she, very good mother and everything like that. The father had her on certain days, and I was the person who was there with. the child and the mother, obviously, for the most part. And obviously, it will there will be instances because child was not a bad behaved child or anything like that. But children is gravitate to people who show them, I guess, a love and affection and care, and patience especially. So it got to the point where the child used to come to me for almost everything, even up to the point where the mother asked me to like sometimes send the child to
To
her.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, to get some things done or whatever, because the child will always come to me. I guess I don't know if it was because I had a little bit more patience,
What was
because
the
of
age of the
her.
child?
She was between the ages like 5, 6 coming up that kind of year,
Okay.
kind of year. But
Okay.
because of the mother's profession too, I think that it was a situation where a lot of expectation was placed on the child, and she also had it
Mm.
at a subconscious level too.
Right.
Because when you are a certain profession, your child is supposed to be a certain
Following
way,
suit. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, a certain way as well. So when your child do certain things that or grasp certain concepts and that kind of thing, with speed, you can get frustrated within yourself. You might not necessarily always be able to control it. Not necessarily she was bad with her or anything like that. Not that case at all. But sometimes on a subconscious level, things still come out,
Yeah.
and children can feel it. So
Yeah.
somebody who's a little more patient, you would gravitate towards. So when a child respects you to that level, discipline comes easier. Not discipline because if you tell a child, well, sit down there and don't move or whatever the case may be, they would understand it's not coming from a place of I trying to control you or trying to be your father or whatever the case may be. It's more so me and you have good times. You respect me, you respect me. We share a level of love and affection. If I speak to you in a particular way, it's not to be taken outside of me wanting the best for you in a particular circumstance. So it's about the relationship you build with each other, the environment that's there beforehand, because there are women who might have an attitude of you can't tell each other nothing, or even the father might say, "Oh God, that child, that man, tell them each other nothing," because of their relationship, how that their animosity might still exist and that kind of thing. But a modern, mature person is who I would believe that anybody would want to get into a relationship with would know that if you have a child coming into a relationship with somebody, then there will be a point where the relationship with the significant other needs to build. When you build that relationship, then there might be a circumstance where discipline comes into play, especially at any point in time where you have to be out, and the person you are with in the relationship has to keep the child in some form. So
Yeah,
if you can't
especially
discipline your child,
between 5 and 6, you at some
yeah,
point you'll go and get this point at that stage.
you know what I mean. And if you are not always going to be there, I have to keep your child. Uh, it's going to be a circumstance where discipline will definitely have to come in. Because if I say to you, well, it's time to nap, or you can't have that sweet, or whatever the case may be, you have to
Mm.
create an environment where the child will listen to what I say, and not the child telling me that, well, you can't tell me how you can still do it, because I ain't gonna put my hand on the child in that manner, because I don't really believe in hitting children to that extent. But it will tell me that this is not an environment that I need to be in, because it's going to cause me to become frustrated, and then I can go cut my losses, not necessarily because I don't love you or don't want to be with you, but if this is the kind of relationship that we can be building where I can't
Right.
discipline, or your child doesn't respect me, then that can only lead to compounded frustration, and
Right.
compounded frustration can feed into the relationship, and then we can end up breaking up. So you got to know when to cut your losses too.
Well, that's a real good point. And I don't think that we as a society, there's no way to do that because some people just be in a situation and they may be making excuses as to why they're in the situation so long because they just don't know when to hit the escape button. That's a very, very important thing, knowing that something is not working or that you could foresee the issues and you decide, you know what, before we get to a stage of resentment or complete chaos, let me just mutually go be separate ways. That's called for a level of maturity too that a lot of people don't possess. And that's a real big point, yeah. That would lead into a lot of different aspects of relationships and stuff. But we would have had Janelle on Panada so that we could at least get a female point of view. Cause we can just sound biased as three men sitting over here so talking about seeing things and
Lyrics yelling
and
ass.
just saying that for real Taiwan, that's exactly what I mean. You know what I mean? We ain't gonna get the view that gonna be different to what is the other say. We can just be chiming and gassing up one another.
But
So
it's interesting though to hear the aspect of it because I've never, as I said, never been in a situation like that. But I've seen, I heard people talk about being in those situations and they're experiencing things, or and they know like everybody's situation can be the same. Some other thing I want people to talk hard to the kids or tell them as it is, but a mother may not be able to tell her you see a child father, so the child father may be talking to the child and telling each other things, but you giving each other the same message, being in the same father figure role is a problem because you're not able to hear each other. So it's interesting to hear this aspect of it because I don't know what that was a tricky word.
yeah, it is. And I would tell you, Kita, avoid it at all costs unless you could get the perfect situation, which does not exist. But the perfect situation would be you and that person embarking on parenthood together for the first time.
Yeah.
Like you and that person, that's the perfect situation because having to deal with a personality that is not obviously yours or not connected to you is very difficult. And if you don't have an authoritative or assertive personality, you could get yourself swept up in a whole bunch of drama. A whole bunch of drama.
I can say something though that might be controversial, but I'm not strange to that. And let me just get my Kevin Samuels on for a second because of something that you said just now,
The
Chad.
Godfather coming.
Something that you just said, Chad. Kevin Samuels is always saying women hate to hear it. They're probably gonna get upset if there are any women in the chat. I apologize ahead of time. Did
Go on.
to underline the point that you made, give in terms of giving Kita advice, women need to recognize that coming into a new relationship, a child is a liability.
For that.
This man ready
It's a
to get
liability.
me canceled off for you too.
A child is a liability. Everything, and you gave I made the statement, but you gave the reasons already.
Yeah.
You gave the reasons already. It is best for you and that person to form y'all's own future with y'all's own child for the purposes of you having the authoritative command in the relationship as it relates to your child and that kind of thing.
That's the ideal situation.
That's the ideal circumstance because you do not want a circumstance where you have to come in now and then you have to build a relationship with somebody else's child. Then you can go split your time that you should be spending with maybe a child you already have or a child that you and the person know will have with another man's child.
Nice.
Understand? So
but that's how we gotta go.
Splitting which is splitting your legacy really and truly with somebody else's child. Your legacy is going to include your time, your resources, your finances, all of that, because you're going to be there in the household more time than not. That child is going to look to you as somewhat of a father figure, especially if the father figure is not one that is going to be in child's life consistently. You're going to be there. You have notice to provide for that child. Some women actually go as far as to have an expectation that that's what you will do, and they don't understand the mindset of the man. Because am I looking from the outside in at that? That is not a circumstance where most men. I mean, if you.
No, don't do that, Tyrone. Don't do that.
If you look and you see the woman look a certain way, you can be like, yeah, I want to get in there, but she got a child trailing behind you, you can be like, child boy, that might not necessarily be something that you're looking at for the long term. That can be a good time rather than a long time. Because a long time entails me getting involved in a circumstance that child father. I think that you don't really
you don't want to be a part of that. We like to think that we are above animals, right? But we basically are animals. and we obey the laws of nature as well. Because when a lion comes to another pride and he kills the existing lion, you know that he just killed the children that the lionesses had as well. Because he does not want to raise them. They are not his blood, they're not his king. So what he gonna do now is he gonna take over the lionesses, breed with them, and then boom, he got children to raise that are his, that will take over the kingdom and so on. So that's why we just get these conversations or back and forth with women where women be like, oh, well, I come into a situation, you had a child, so I did, like I touch you, but that's your nurturing instinct. It is within you to do that. Naturally, for a man, that is not it. It's something that a lot of leaders do, but it is not what we want to do.
And most times, the child that, if a man has a child coming into a relationship with another woman, most often the child is with the mother and not with the father. So, really and truly, it is not even with the female's responsibility to deal with the man's child. It's generally a circumstance where a child is with his mother. So the man is coming into the circumstance where he has to be part of that child's life rather than the woman that's coming into a relationship with a man that has a child already, she having to form a relationship with that child, because she's probably only going to see that child when the child's with the father. And more often than not, the child is not going to make arrangements to have his girlfriend and his child in the same environment unless it's purposeful. Because if he is having his girlfriend over, he's gonna be wanting that time for private time. You know what I mean? He ain't necessarily going to want a girlfriend and child over at the same time, unless if it's something that he's willfully building a relationship for them for family time or going out or whatever the case may be. But more often than not, when the woman is inside of the relationship with the man, she only sees that child when the man wants to see the child. The child with the woman who has a relationship, who has a new boyfriend, he now has to build a relationship. That child is going to be there all the time. So that's the whole mollycoddling thing about the circumstances. A lot of men will simp into that circumstance because of the woman's expectation that she places on the man, not recognizing that her herself, the child is a liability. She will say, you want me, you got to want my child. If the child is a rude ass child, for example, they don't want to hear how there's a cell. You want me, you got to want my child too. And some men will simp into that situation and take that because they want to be with the woman, which is a very unfortunate circumstance. And if he says to the woman, well, at some point, I can't do this. Her girlfriends are gonna gas her up or to that toxic masculinity. He's supposed to take care of you and you child how you can want to be with you and don't want to take care of your child. Exactly. You understand? That's what gonna happen. That's what gonna happen.
That's what we saying, Chad.
I was gassing you up in the background. While the girl is be talking, the women is be in the background gassing shit. So that's what he was doing with Tyrone.
What does it say, Chad? What does we saying about
he ain't shit, bitch. He ain't deserve you. You better than that. This is the next third.
Number one, niggas ain't shit. That
time they single and they dealing with somebody's husband.
Yeah, that is the point. That's what's going on. That's what's been going on.
It hot.
That's what's been going on.
That's why they can't go on mad for themselves. They go and wait on the day after Valentine's Day to get gifts and a half milk chocolate and thing. That's when they go and wait on. Like
for CFC.
Yeah, babe. I must say playing for Rap Moxie FC. That one clean though. I like that one there. I get teeth. Wait, let me write that down because you can forget.
Man, savage. That's all the whole episode.
Yeah, it probably would be. Probably needs to be.
It's true.
That's all the whole episodes. Was that Sims versus Pimps? I know, like, whoa.
That one.
That was an episode in itself, boy.
Sims
versus Pimpin'.
Yeah, man, we can definitely eventually
But I
get
mean,
into it because I have
we want Janelle to be here because we need a female presence for sure
yeah,
for
For
that.
sure,
yeah,
for sure, for
yeah,
sure,
for
for sure.
sure, for sure. I have been putting off the relationship style conversations because I know typically that's what everybody just talk about.
Yeah.
And truth be
Get paid up.
told, we have been tackling numerous heavy hitting topics that people really just shy away from because of the controversial nature of the content and the fact that when you voice an opinion, you basically paint where you stand in the grand scheme of things. So people would be able to label, categorize, and sometimes paint you into a position. But here at Up and Say, we don't be frightened for that. So we just talk plain, we start direct and we deal with people. I saw sorry, who the girl in there from last week that upon we can't she near Shanna or saying so right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Shanna.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I surprised that we ain't see Shanna. We they're too hot and spicy for Shanna, man. She didn't come back this week. Anybody who knows Shanna tell she that child to run and keep the show she man. And we want she come back for an episode. We can talk we can get Kevin Samuels from this one here. So for real. I sorry that I had the chicken to be wait, so seasoning in the background. Or nothing so like
Nah,
man, don't talk of me, man.
that my
Kevin
friend, that girl,
Samuels.
but you're not my big oil drum set. You see, we gonna big oil drum set, so she gonna get anything. I'm out with that girl. That situation is so fun. Look,
Listen, know that you said so. No, you said so. I want people to know that chicken definitely has gone up because I used to order a $70 amount of chicken for the house, and now that particular order has gone to $82. But because I
Really?
is a man that
Oh,
I is budget a certain way, I tell the man, well, listen, what is the equivalent of 70? You bring that for me because
I'm gonna take over that shit.
that $12 jump is ridiculous. So
I was expecting to say $100. That's true.
yeah, man. I go directly to people as opposed to you
Okay,
know
okay.
I try my best always to cut out the middleman when it comes to fruits, vegetables, and poultry because it ain't easy out here in these streets. It ain't easy in the Massey Isles. It ain't easy nowhere about. So I am playing or pretending that everything is great. So let me tell you something. I believe that we had a real good conversation tonight. I believe that that we spoke about coddling within the society. We gotta cancel that coddle culture. We gotta get the young men with the we gotta get
Skills.
our young men with the skills necessary in order
Yeah.
to propel this Barbadian society forward because we are a skilled related entity. We are not, what is called first world countries and all that stuff. I don't really like that term anyway, because all a third world country is a first world country coming in and siphoning in all your
Sources is true.
assets and services and people and then labeling you third world because the things ain't coming back into your country, they're going out to the big country. But anyway, I digress. I want people to take a serious look inside of your home. Look at your children, encourage them, big them up, but also pull them up. Because we got a lot of parents out here that just be talking about, oh, my child is so this, oh, my child is so that. And then when it's time for them to be what they're supposed to be, they won't be children. They won't be men when it is convenient. They won't be women when it's convenient. But when it's time to be a woman or a man and deal with woman or a man share, they won't be children. That's another aspect that could get into at another point in time. But I want people to seriously take a look on the inside. Take a look at what you can do as a parent, as a uncle, an auntie, whatever. We all got roles to play. The children are the future. Let's play our part. That's the old thing. I know certain people don't remember that. You understand? We got to recognize that what we put in the children today is what is going to bloom later. So if you plant foolishness, you can't reap greatness. So let me get behind these children. Let me talk to them. Let me prepare them for the real world because the real world is cold, it is dark, it is unforgiving. We
Yeah.
can't be coddling these children because you are not preparing them for the real world. You are not doing them justice. You are doing them a disservice and you are failing as a parent. Yes, I'm talking to you.
I ain't gonna say all that to the extent where every single parent is on the parent, but I just saying that with the calling, they all got balance. That's my take. Like with the calling, they all got balance. So all this you shielding the child from, or are trying to show a child a better world, or whatever you want to call it, the child also needs to see reality, because I know parents out there that treat children well and watch perceive as well, but I also know there's also going to the real streets or the real world to see, like, currently going town to see how people in town operating. You see, this is a vagrant or power, whatever you want to call it, spending child whole life played a part, and he getting to this stage and he left and becoming a vagrant or power. So let's see what is really out there in the real world. And that is very, very important for you bringing with child, because you'll be surprised at things that people don't see till they become adults there. So, but that's all I gotta say for sure. But I just want to say to the people over there for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tyrone, you can talk to
then
people then.
yeah. And then just in closing this one, say feelings over facts, and sorry, facts over
Facts
feelings.
over
My
feelings.
apologies.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Facts over feelings, because that the
That's a shirt.
the paradigm, the paradigm that we're moving to now is feelings matter more than anything else. Because, for example, John could feel he is a dog, and if you don't call he by his dog-related pronouns, he can call you a bigot and call you and say you're so full of hate. So because he feels he's a dog, and you don't refer to him as a dog, you're now full of hate. So if you don't take part in his delusion, you become the bad person, which is very unfortunate. So lesser participation trophies and more striving for excellence.
Correct.
That's the truth.
Cancel
Less participation trophies, more striving for excellence, and let people that are going to cry and say, I lost, come better the next time, because
Correct.
I need to see it in a sport I love, which is football. Men, is the previous season is walk past the Champions League trophy, and grown men is out there crying, and then the next season that team will come and they can bring home the trophy because they remember what that losing feeling.
That feeling was
feel
like,
not molly coddling people. Oh, here and
we get him a second place trophy.
Don't worry about it. No, worry about it and let it be your motivation. Take that feeling, nurture it, and let it be your
cultivate
motivation.
it. Yeah, cultivate it.
Don't just let it be something that everybody making you feel is okay. Yes, it's okay to feel badly, but understand that feeling of feeling badly should be something that you will need to build on to try next time you reaching the higher echelon. So less participation trophies, more striving for excellence, and facts over feelings.
And with that, we out of here. We out of here.
So I want people, as usual, have a great night. Thank you so much for being a part of the Up Inside Your podcast. My pilot actually just told me that the plane is landing. I just took some of the money that the government had for for hiring the foreign anti-money laundering firm, rather than using the people. But here, I just let them know that I fly to Italy to get some spaghetti. So I about to land. When I have a good night, thank you for being here.
They
got themselves into
Good night.
Like, share, subscribe.